It seems like every Democratic debate so far has had one moment that really marked the entire political conversation, at least for the next couple of weeks. There was, of course, Kamala challenging Joe. There was Tulsi destroying Kamala, Bernie's bounce back after his health scare as well. But a certain beverage and location defined the sixth debate. Cenk Uygur explained, this will forever be known as the #wine cave debate. And that's really important because it puts a great visual to the exact problem with our current system and perfectly highlights the differences between the candidates. There are the wine cave candidates and there are the uncorrupted ones. Here to expand on that is the man himself. Cenk, great to see you, sir.
Great to see you, Crystal.
All right, so the wine cave debate. Tell me more.
Yeah. So there was a six-way tie for first in this one. I actually thought everybody did a great job of presenting their case. Klobuchar made the best defense of experience I've seen in a debate in a long, long time. You know, everybody ignores Steyer, but he makes a great point about corporate power in our government and how they've really hijacked our democracy. People should hear him out on that. Yang was terrific on democracy dollars as usual, but there was one clear loser. Pete Buttigieg. Man, that wine cave label is gonna stick. He's wine cave Pete. It's too good a visual. And think about it. Why did he do it? It's because he can't help himself. Hillary Clinton, why did she do the Goldman Sachs paid speeches before running for president? That made no political sense at all. Why did Pete Buttigieg hold a fancy fundraiser in a wine cave? It's such terrible optics. They do it because they can't help themselves. That's who they are. They cater to the donors, and Pete Buttigieg totally got exposed last night.
Well, and they do it because it's normal. We talked to Gavin Newsom in the spin room last night, our colleague Jamal did, and asked him about this. Now, Gavin Newsom is the owner, apparently, of a wine cave, and so he took great exception to this, but he says, what, hundreds of Democratic candidates have raised money in this wine cave, so what's the problem? And it's like, that is exactly the problem right there. That's it.
Yeah, 100%. They can't see straight. But it's true of a lot of the mainstream media, too, that they can't see how damaging that looks to the average American. So they almost never talk about money in politics. They take it as a given. They're like, yeah, of course, when corporations give money to politicians, that's the most normal thing in the world. No, it's not the most normal thing. It's a bribe. Everybody knows it's a bribe. And Pete Buttigieg said, look, I raised $2,800 at a time. No, that's not exactly right. He has bundlers that raise $25,000 at a time. The problem isn't one wealthy person giving to you in a wine cave. The problem is when lobbyists for certain special interests bundle up a lot of money in a wine cave and hand it to you, because later they're going to come calling for favors.
Right.
So when Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders say, I don't know anybody anything because I didn't take any money, big money from these corporations or lobbyists, that is a really, really compelling case.
Well, and the problem is also, whose needs are you going to be responsive to? Because we know right now in Washington whose needs they are responsive to, and it's not the American people, it's their donors. So when you are hanging out with them in wine caves and labeling them investors in your campaign, you know exactly what you're going to get out of that administration. I wanted to ask you, though, about his exchange with Warren specifically, because he did land on her what I thought was a hard challenge to respond to, that, okay, you raise this grassroots money now you've sworn off the big dollar fundraisers, but you were taking that money right up until you announced for president. How did you think of how she handled that, and do you think that that's a fair charge?
Yeah. It is a fair charge, but on the other hand, I'm in the let bygones be bygones camp because, look, almost all the politicians outside of Bernie have been taking corporate PAC money for their entire lives. So now we have a great trend, and Just Democrats is part of the reason that trend started, of not taking corporate PAC money. But for any politician that now comes over to the right side and says, I'm not taking it anymore, we should welcome that. That should be terrific. And Elizabeth Warren has done a great job of bringing up corruption more than any other candidate in all of these debates. Look, right now, I'm backing Bernie Sanders, and very, very strongly so. But credit where credit is due. She has made corruption a huge issue in this campaign, and she's the one that brought up that he's Wine Cave Pete. and I think she devastated him with it. So I'd much rather have her be true for the entirety of a presidential campaign than Pete Buttigieg, who says, no, but I'm still corrupt and I'll see you in a wine cave.
Yeah. Do you think that she did what she needed to sort of reverse the decline that she's seen in the polls?
Yes and no. We have a clear Final Four. It's over. Out of the 27 candidates, we've got Buttigieg and Warren as the undercard, and it's a hell of an undercard. It was a great debate last night between the two of them, and I think Warren clearly got the upper hand. I mean, I'm telling you, I just can't get past it. He's not going to get past it. Wine Cave Pete, it's over. Everybody knows him as that. He got exposed. The mainstream media loves that guy, and they were never, ever going to lay a glove on him because they are his corporate donors. But so it was up to Elizabeth. Isn't it interesting that the moderators never ask a question about that? So it was up to Elizabeth Warren to do that fight, and she did, and I think she knocked him out. But the top two now are clearly Biden and Bernie, and so. And that was the major fight last night, and they had it over Medicare for All, among other topics. And I think Bernie is in amazing shape. At the end of the day, if it's Biden versus Bernie, that's very similar to Biden versus Hillary. But this time, progressives are much stronger, and I think Biden is a weaker candidate.
I personally love that ideological battle because it's so clear. I mean, not only on the policies it's so clear, but on the vision for the future, on your explanation of how we got to Trump in the first place, in the sort of old model of politics versus the new model that is being born as we speak. I love that dynamic, and to have that fight out clearly and directly. How do you think that'll ultimately go, though, as we look forward into the new year?
You know, I even got to give Biden credit. So last night he was on his A game. He had a couple of answers that were so honest. I thought, really? Huh, look at that honest answer. Way to go, Joe. But overall, Biden is who he is. He can't help himself. Even as the Republicans shiv him and try to bleed him out, he's like, we gotta work with the Republicans. That's what all my donors tell me, right? So no, I mean, the mainstream media, of course, love that. They're like, oh my God, as the Republicans are punching him in the face, he reached out to get punched more. No, that's not what we want. We want an uncorrupted candidate like Bernie who's actually going to fight for progressive values. How do we know Bernie's going to do that? That's all he's ever done for 40 straight years.
Right.
God, it's amazing how biased the mainstream media is. After last night's debate, nothing but negative articles about Bernie Sanders, who I thought, everybody did well except Buttigieg. But still, Bernie's the winner of that debate because he came across as the most uncorrupted and the most honest by a landslide.
Yeah, I think that's well said. Cenk, always great to have your insights. Appreciate you, and thank you so much for being a great friend of the show this year. We're really grateful for you.
Thank you. I'm grateful for you guys. You're wonderful.
And we'll have more Rising for you after this.